Hey everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Recommendable. I am Pat. I'm here with Evan.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, Evan. How are you?
It took a minute to it's going well, pal.
It's going great. It's the day before Thanksgiving and we have off tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So it's great.
Absolutely. Finally.
Absolutely. Perfect. So we're here to talk about Spider-Man coming out in December, I believe late December. But the movie's been one of the ones with all movies that's been delayed. And I think fair to say this is probably the most hyped Marvel movie in a long time, probably since Endgame, right?
Yeah, I would
Um,
say so. Like most one I've cared about.
yeah.
Like, Shang-Chi and everything, they're good, but this is like the first one I've actually the trailer made me go like, "Oh, I heard that voice, right? Like
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah.
that good stuff."
Yeah. It's not just that on top of the fact that Spider-Man's a very popular character and Black Widow was a fine movie. People didn't know a lot about the Eternals or Shang-Chi. Um, but Spider-Man is a big household name, and then you add in the fact that it's kind of going the multiverse, and the other Spider-Man are going to be in it. This feels like the
Yeah.
first movie that's going to blow away the box office post-COVID, or not really post-COVID, but post caring that we about not going to the movies during COVID.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if this was like the first like, hey, here's $1 billion in a month Marvel movie.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be shocked either. I mean, Dune did pretty well, right?
Yeah,
And like
doing pretty well. Um, Most of the other movies have done Marvel movies have done okay. It feels like comic movies are relatively immune. Even Venom, I think,
yeah,
did pretty well.
yeah. So it's like, I was surprised how good Dune did because it's not like a superhero movie. It
Yeah,
doesn't have mass appeal, right? Dune is
yeah,
very like it's not Star Wars,
no.
right? It's very like
It
this
does
is
have
hardcore Star Wars.
it did have the classic label though, and that's the thing that helps it.
Yeah.
Same with Lord of the Rings. Like so many people saw Lord of the Rings that had never heard of it before, or before the movies came out. And same thing with Dune. There's a bunch of people who've never read the book or read the book because the movie was coming out, and those people were ready to hop on that bandwagon. So
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
so awesome. So for this episode of Recommendable, we're not going to dive too deep into a lot of the superhero stuff because that's a little generic, and we don't have a ton of recommendations outside of the Spider-Man universe. So this is going to be more of an episode where we just kind of talk about Spider-Man in the media and things we've watched and
Sure.
played that we like. I'll have a couple of like superhero board games later on as well that we can chat about. So with that out of the way, let's jump into the first segment, which I don't have a name for it, but Evan, I'm just gonna grill you. I'm gonna put
All
you on
right.
the spot and make you rank every single Spider-Man movie
Ooh.
since the first one came out in whatever it was, 2000, 1999. Can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, it
Okay.
was old.
So
Yeah,
your
all right.
your
Okay.
options are good, which will be represented by our laughing Jonah Jameson.
Okay.
Meh,
Okay.
which will be represented by a kind of neutral cigar smoking Jonah Jameson, and then bad, which is a shouting at the roof Jonah Jameson. So those are your
Okay.
three options.
Okay.
So
I'm getting them
so
in my head.
yeah, I'm gonna list them
All
off
right.
for you. So we're gonna start right at the beginning. First one, Spider-Man
Yeah.
One,
Okay.
just the classic Spider-Man versus Green
Good.
Goblin.
I
Good.
think it was good. Good villain. It holds up like okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so okay. Are the new Spider-Man movies better? Yes, absolutely. But I
Yeah.
think for a one-off movie when it came out, it was the best superhero movie in a very long time.
Yeah.
So I'd
It
say good.
Agreed. It's allowed to be corny because it was made, in the year 2000, right? It gets a pass for its corny
Yeah,
moments.
yeah. I still like. It still weirds me out that they try to pass everyone off as high schoolers, and they're all like in their 30s,
Yeah.
right? Like, there's some
Yeah.
stuff in there that I'm not
They're
super okay with,
yeah,
but
they're visibly adults, right? Like Tom Holland looks young
yeah,
even though he's in his 20s. He looks like he's in
yeah,
high school. Tobey
yeah.
Maguire
That can
did not.
pass.
Yeah.
No, no, he looks like a man,
All
a
right.
man. Like, hello, fellow kids.
Yeah. All right, Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock.
I liked it.
Me
I'll
too.
give it another good.
It's the
I
best.
thought Doc
It's
Ock was excellent.
yeah.
Probably the best of the OG3, I think.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I'd put it in contention for like the best Spider-Man movie. Like it's up there.
Oh,
Doc
okay,
Ock.
yeah.
I
All right, I can
love.
see that.
I have a hunch, and I don't know this for sure, but I have a feeling they're gonna make Doc Ock an actual protagonist in the new movie.
Yeah, it's what kind of felt like, right, when
Yeah,
they had him like, I wish they didn't put that scene in the trailer, right? Like,
yeah,
just the "Hello, Peter." Like, that would've been perfect. And then
yeah,
even you could even do the mask script, be like, "You're not Peter Parker." But when they have him down there and they're all like, "Oh, what's your name?" "Dr. Octavius." And they're like, "What's your real name?" Like, "No, stop it. Stop it." That's like,
yeah,
just let it happen.
yeah,
Uh
yeah,
no, that was excellent. Even, like, going back, again, it was still fun. Like,
yeah,
it's still a good movie.
yeah. And again, you can forgive the corners. There's that scene where he stops the train and his face, the face Tobey Maguire makes when he's stopping it. He's not. He's. I don't want to be rude. He's not a great actor, but it's an accomplishment how good those movies are
Yeah,
with Tobey
yeah,
Maguire trying to act
yeah.
like like a very young man. So all
You're not
right,
wrong.
Spider-Man 3, the one with quote unquote Venom,
Boo.
was
Boo.
all the way bad.
Yeah, I'm putting it all the way bad.
All right,
It just I couldn't like that's the one it ended on. And I remember
yeah,
like going in liking 2 so much and seeing that and being like, wow, what I don't like I didn't like Batman. Like they just did the whole Venom arc like so quick, right?
yes,
Like
yeah,
you can't do it in an hour and a half.
yeah.
It just didn't
I
make sense.
I believe that the studio made him put that in, and
Yeah.
I believe it was just going to be the Sandman as the main villain, but that makes sense because the Sandman parts are like well developed, and
Yeah,
the
they're actually
character actually
decent, yeah.
matters, and they're well written. And then like Venom's just like, ah, let's just cast the guy from that '70s show.
Right? Like it just bummed me out because it could have been just a fine Spider-Man installment.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, also, like studios ruin everything, don't they? Like they're not. I don't really know. I've never heard a good story. Like
yeah,
only a few times I've heard a studio suggestion that actually like fixed something, but most of the time
right.
it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah, and I that's why like I just want them to stay out the way. Just give like these directors like find a director you trust and give him the amount of money he wants and then just literally let them do what they want, right?
Yeah,
If you let them do that,
yeah.
we would have had an Edgar Wright Ant-Man movie and that would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah. True, true.
But that didn't happen. So all right, I agree. It's I might be tempted to put it into meh because it's got some good scenes, but I think overall the movie's not particularly entertaining. So
I wouldn't watch it again. Like
that's fair.
I'd watch the first 2 for fun. Like, "Oh, yeah, I'll put it on the background while I'm working," but if 3 came up, man, skip. Nah, no.
Fair, fair. All right.
Bring me better movies of Spider-Man.
All right, next one. It's not a movie. It's the music video to the first Spider-Man movie, the
Oh,
Nickelback music video. What do you
oh,
think?
yo.
We're doing it. It's in.
So, meh. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Uh, yeah, speaking of that, like, man, do you what was it Spider-Man 1 that they had the Twin Towers in?
Yes, they had
Like
to edit them out. Yeah, if I
yeah.
remember correctly.
Yeah, because he got the helicopter between the like, that was the promotional poster for it.
He was
Like, I just started
he was on the one of the flagpoles in the trailer, I believe, and then they had to edit it out. So that make okay,
yeah, yeah.
it came out in 2001 then it must have.
Yeah, yeah, right. Because it
Yeah.
still was like, yeah, okay. Sorry, the music video just made me think of that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
man, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I'd say it's a meh. Like, it's you know what? I'd watch it if it was on, but I wouldn't go out of
I
my way to find
I
it.
had to watch it again so I could ask you this question. I'm gonna give it a bad because retrospectively,
Oh,
it doesn't
yeah.
quite reach the heights of like an Aerosmith, Armageddon.
Yeah,
It's just too boring. It
it
doesn't
doesn't quite
peak.
hit, Guardians Inferno.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
no. But back when
alright.
Spider-Man 1 came out, I loved it. All right.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the Andrew Garfield one. I think it's just called The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. Give this
It's
a hard
just,
meh.
okay. You get even the first one gets a meh. Okay,
Yeah, I didn't like either. He just was too cool for Peter Parker.
that's true. Did you buy him as a high schooler?
More than more than the first Spider-Man, but
Yeah.
still like he was just too like, hey guys, because Peter Parker's kind of a nerd. That was kind of like the whole like he
Yeah.
was just he took pictures, he really didn't have any friends, like uh he just like he was just too suave and kind of a bad guy. Like I remember one of the first things is when he steals the ID badge to get into the building, and then he's like going up the thing and he sees like the actual person whose badge was get like taken out of the building and not let to go to their job for the day.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, is he a bad guy? You know, like I was just like, I don't know what I feel about this. So, yeah, I didn't like it, and I'm gonna. That already predicts my feelings of the second movie.
Yeah. The
Uh,
first one's better than the second one.
it is better than the second, but I just remember watching it and being like, I don't. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't think I like this guy, but that's just
I
me.
like
That's just
Andrew
me.
Garfield though, and he's very
Yeah,
good at putting on. He's a terrific actor. If you look at some of the independent movies he's done, his acting is incredible. And he was in a Martin Scorsese movie, I believe, called Silence with Adam Driver. Incredible
oh,
acting from
okay.
both of them. It's a very slow burn, completely different from Spider Man.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
But he's a terrific actor. It's just the whole, I don't know, the universe didn't come together for me. So it's a meh for the first
Yeah,
one, and then we'll skip to the second one, which I believe we could both agree it's bad. Is it the worst
yeah.
Spider-Man movie? I think
I
so.
still, yeah. See, I still don't know if it is, but it's not good.
Yeah.
I again, it just like felt rushed, and the Electro, was that was the second
Jamie
one, right? Electro was
yeah,
second.
Jamie Foxx, yeah.
Uh, that whole thing was just so like thrown together. I don't know. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm Spider Man's biggest admirer. Then he like
Yeah. And
forgets him in one
he
scene.
looked like an idiot. Like they had him do like a
Yeah,
comb over. He was the actual
yeah,
nerd. It was very strange. And
yeah. And
I
then he like it's forgotten once, and he goes full evil, like kill
yeah.
Spider Man. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't get it.
Spider-Man didn't sign my autograph. Let's murder him and his whole family.
I'm sure if I went back and I deep dive watched it again and took notes and all this stuff, I could get more out of it. But this is my as a general audience guy. I went in and saw the movie
Yeah.
and was like, this wasn't good.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
like the climactic parts. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just not sold on anything.
They did change, I noticed in the trailer for No Way Home. They changed the look of
Yeah, it changed how he
Electro.
looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually's got a little suit on now.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not
So
just made of electricity.
let's just pretend that movie never happened, I guess is. But I will
Yeah,
say the fact they killed off Gwen Stacy, that's pretty
yeah,
ballsy for a movie studio. I think it's that pulled from the comics, I don't know, but either way, it's pretty it's a big step for a Spider-Man movie to take that normally won't. Like at no point in the first trilogy did I think Mary Jane was going to be killed.
yeah. No, correct.
Yeah.
It's just too bad it was wasted on that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's like having how do I like having a really great play in Halo Infinite. Like you got like your triple kill, you did it with like a 360 no scope, and then you're like, wow, man, take a screen cap. This is going on my highlight reel, and you go back and your team lost like a 50-2. Right,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
got the 2 points, and that was like all it was. You had this great moment where everyone's like, "Wow, high five!" But like in the end, the rest of it was just so bad it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I just
That's fair. All right. Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Both the movies are terrible.
yeah.
Evan, I couldn't think of a funny one for this, so I'm gonna ship you good, meh, or bad. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone being in love in real life. Is it cute or is it just eh?
Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone. You know what? Um, not as not as cute as the next like um the next couple, right?
Oh,
Is
Tom
it?
Holland and Zendaya.
Yeah, they were and they won't. Like they were like super hidden. Like I thought that was cuter than Andrew Garfield,
All right.
hot. But I'll give you a meh on
All
that.
right.
I'll give
We'll
you
we'll
a
take we'll take a cigar smoking Jonah Jameson.
that's yeah. I do like cigars, so it's fine.
There we go. Everything's just gonna be meth from now on, so you can get the cigar on screen.
Yeah, I do what I have to.
All right, awesome. Next one up is we'll do Spider-Man: Homecoming, the first solo.
Awesome.
We're not gonna do all of the other, the
Yeah, no,
MCU
it's
movies he
fine.
was in. So
Awesome, super good.
I
Loved
agree.
it. Soundtrack was great. It felt like Spider-Man again, like kind of a nerdy guy. His buddy was building the Lego sets, right? Like
Yeah,
they were like outcasts, kind of. Gets superpowers, does stupid things because he's a kid, right? Like
yeah,
doing that vulture scene. Oh, the car. Ooh,
yes, yeah,
man, that's still like
yeah,
he just takes a pistol and he's like, man, I don't want to like emulate the scene because I don't want to decredit it, but it was like
yeah,
that the vulture reveal that that was her dad,
yeah,
like super
yeah,
cool. Like the whole thing was just like super good. Like I was thoroughly. It's like the perfect way to when people say, surpass my expectations or like do something I wasn't expecting. Like that movie was the way to do it, where it was like these like tiny turns, right? Like
yes,
little things that didn't they didn't have to be like a whole the whole story doesn't come to a grinding halt because you want to subvert my expectations,
right,
right? It was just
right,
like little dial turns here and there, and I'm like, oh, even in the end when like there's that one iconic scene from Spider-Man where he's got all the concrete and the water's pouring down him. He's like, "Get up, Spider-Man! Get up, Spider!" He's doing like the push-up, like that was in there. Like, man,
yeah.
dude, so
I
good.
I
Like,
agree. I think it's the best for me. The Vulture is an amazing villain, and I from what I understand, it's going to be back for some of the Sony Spider-Man movies, like
yeah.
Mobius, the vampire one. He's going to be in that.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
So
saw him quick. Yeah.
yeah,
You
so
know what?
that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, yeah, that was just good, man, all the way
Yeah,
around. Like,
yeah,
um, really liked it
yeah,
overall. Super surprised and super happy. Like I was smiling the whole way through, and
yeah.
that's
Tom
rare.
Holland pulls off. Again, he's a handsome young man, but
Yeah,
he still manages to pull off. I'm a nerd and I'm awkward and I'm not sure of myself. And the fact that
yeah,
Iron Man's in it, incredible. Like I love Iron Man, so all of the Iron Man scenes
yeah,
are
dude. Because it kind of like it led the handoff that he was in the MCU movies, right? But it was like hey, like he Iron Man was in there, but it wasn't like about him, right? It
right,
wasn't like
right.
all about Iron Man. Like speaking of the Vulture, he was like a relatable villain,
Yes,
right? Like
yes,
he's like, hey, yeah, I had a life until contracts and all this bullshit like put me all out of the job. Like
yeah.
right, like it was like you kind of felt for him. It was just like that was again like perfect villain. I'm so sick of mustache twirling. Like I'm on record to say I hate the Joker just because he's so like I'm evil because
There's
right
not,
like
yeah,
just
yeah, and a lot of the DC villains are like that. It's just like, why are we evil? Well, someone has to fight the good
yeah,
guy,
right,
right?
like
Like, yeah,
I
but
just that
I
was actually a
agree.
cool
Yeah,
villain.
yeah, he
It just like you
very
had like
very
a
relatable.
reason.
Like if that happened to me,
Yeah,
and I had the opportunity to be, it's not evil, right? Because
yeah,
evil is just this like nebulous thing that doesn't really mean anything. What he
yeah,
is greedy
yeah,
and self-serving, and that's not self-serving is not necessarily a bad thing.
yeah,
But
yeah,
obviously he ends up hurting other people, so then he's the antagonist. But you
yeah,
can
yeah,
completely sympathize with what he's doing in the film and why he's doing it. So
yeah. Because he's taking care of his friends and family, right? Who got
yeah,
like, he's not just again. It's not just like I'm doing it because bad,
yeah,
right? Like it's
yeah.
I got stuff. So no, that was super good.
Fair. All right, and then the last one is this is not a. I don't know if this is the official one. I don't know whether they'll tie it in eventually, but the animated film Spider-Man Into the Multiverse.
Oh, great,
Yeah,
super good. Again, another subverting expectations, but slow, tiny dial twists, right? Like that's Nicolas Cage. That's this character. That's Schlubby Spider-Man in this universe. His life sucks, right? So he's like they're playing off each other. Like again, it was like, and they kill Spider-Man like right in the beginning, right? Like
Yes, yeah, they killed that
that's
yeah, and then
crazy.
it's
Yeah,
Miles Morales is the
that universe
new
of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
you
I
like
I agree.
it's
That movie came out of nowhere. Like I
yeah,
just happened to see it and I was
absolutely.
like I didn't see it in theaters. It was on streaming. I
I
sat
didn't either.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah, just crazy how good that is.
I because I saw it, I'm like, animated Spider-Man. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of animated Marvel and DC movies, which are all like, some are good, some are bad. But in my mind, before I even see it, I put it like a 5 out of 10. Not bad, not great. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, another animated movie.
yeah, yeah,
I like animated movies, like, but I'm just like, okay, well, this is gonna be like, just get through it, check it out. But then I remember watching it, and the soundtrack was awesome.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
the the animation was beautiful. All the cool, like, just characters, like,
yeah.
man,
The
again,
action,
that's another one that's
the
just top
the way
notch.
they animated the action, where it's like very fast and sharp,
Yeah,
was great. So it
no,
reminded
excellent.
me of have you this is actually so I'm not a comic book reader and I'm especially not a superhero comic book reader. But one of my first introductions to Spider-Man after the first movie came out was MTV did an animated series that was very much like um it was computer animated or it was made to look computer animated.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that?
The Spider-Man computer animated?
Yeah, it felt like it was computer animated, and it was computer
MTV
animated, but
Spider-Man.
it was kind of like that Cartoon Network style of cartoon of animation. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
MTV Spider-Man. That's a
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, let me Spider-Man the new animated series.
yeah. I was wondering if you've ever seen it. They came
Uh,
up with like a new weird kind of electro in it. But
okay.
I remember
Okay.
watching that. In fact, I had it on DVD when collecting hundreds of DVD
Oh,
was a thing.
yeah, I didn't. Now that I'm looking at this, I didn't know this existed.
Yeah, I was hoping, or maybe I hope in the future that they'll bring that Spider-Man into Spider-Verse. That would be so cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
I was just
you've
looking
got
at
like
this, I'm
everything
like,
in
yeah,
there,
okay,
right?
yeah.
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 All right,
Yeah, the
fair.
Electro looks like a man, like, it almost looks like ice.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this is what I'm looking at, yeah.
It was very I wouldn't say it was good. In fact, if I were to get I'm gonna give it a rating. I'm gonna give it a meh. There we go. Jonah
Okay.
Jameson with cigar. Um, but it was good for what it was, and I remember at the time really, really liking it. And I bet going back it's probably not nearly as good. But they are yeah, I think they're in college is
Yeah,
the
there's
setting.
a lot of people have taken a lot of pictures of Mary Jane, so uh, like, yep, okay, seen enough, but yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like they're in college, if I had to guess.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely over 18 at this point, I think. Yeah, but I just wondered whether you'd seen it.
No, I haven't actually.
I don't know if I'd recommend go seeking it out. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but I remember there's like a little nostalgia there. Like Space Jam's a terrible movie, but I'll watch it anytime because it just
Yeah,
hits me right in the heart. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, all right, awesome, awesome. So that's a quick rundown of the Spider-Man movies.
Before we go any farther,
Yes.
what about the last Spider-Man movie?
Which one?
The one with Mysterio?
Oh, did I skip that one? I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
skipped it.
No, yeah,
Yeah, what's that one called? Far From Home.
yeah.
All right.
What'd you think of it?
Oh,
I'm
what
gonna
did
hit
I
you
think?
with this. What'd you think of it?
Uh I'm gonna give it a meh. I think
Yeah, I
it's
don't really remember it.
yeah, I think
I
it
saw it. I remember some action scenes, but
yeah, I think it's a good movie, but if we're ranking if we only have three rankings, good, meh, and bad, I don't want to put everything in good. Like the first two Tobey Maguire movies are in good. Um, the first Andrew Garfield and the multiverse are all good. So I feel like compared to those movies, the second Spider-Man is a step down, but it's still a
yeah,
very, very good movie. Like I really, the whole idea of the holograms is kind of dumb, but Jake Gyllenhaal does a great job selling the villain. In fact, the bar scene where he tricks Spider-Man into giving him the weapon, and then that scene afterwards is great. because again, it's like if it was like an old style movie, the villain would be like, "Ma, I have your secret
Yeah.
weapon," but in him, he's like, "The drinks are on me, everyone." He like, you know what I mean? Like he's like
Yeah.
just kind of overjoyed. And I love the fact that it's once again, it's not just him; it's a collection of like people Tony Stark has made mad who used to work for him.
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
and
Right.
they
Yeah.
just all want to be mega rich like he is, and he's just like, you know what I mean. So I
Yeah,
I,
as
I
villains,
enjoy
at
it.
least it wasn't like, yeah. No, I
Yeah,
agree. That was good.
yeah,
So yeah, I would say it's a meh. It's like not bad. It's just
yeah,
I don't remember it as fondly as I do the first one. That's what I'm coming.
yeah. No,
Like
I
I
agree.
don't like think back and be like, wow, I really want to watch it. I'd be like, yeah, I'd watch it again, but I'm not gonna like. So I stream some stuff, but if it's a movie I really like, I buy it through the Microsoft Marketplace, so I can
Okay,
watch it via my phone on a TV or on my Xbox or on my computer. Pretty much my account can go anywhere. So if it's a movie I love, I'll
yeah,
go out of my way to buy it digitally. If not, I'll stream it.
yeah,
Like that's a stream. I don't think I would like
yeah.
spend the $20 or whatever it's going to be to buy, but I would
I'd
stream it,
agree.
right?
Yeah, the action scenes weren't as the first one of the action scenes were great and they felt very visceral. I specifically remember, he's fighting the elementals, which are like holograms. But even if, regardless of their holograms or not, it wasn't particularly entertaining, but it was still very funny. The thing about Marvel movies is, even when they're terrible, they're funny. Like Black Widow is one of the
Yeah,
worst Marvel movies for me. I really did not care for that movie. The only parts I did like were when they were telling jokes. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. I even skipped it. Like well, because like the problem is she's dead in the current timeline,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah. I mean, it's a
so
flashback,
I
but like,
still like
man,
I don't like prequels very much
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's easy to be like hindsight's 2020 and they can just start putting whatever they want into like I like Solo, but take Solo, right? Like,
yeah,
oh, this
yeah.
happened and this happened, so we can explain it like this because we have all the information, right? Like,
Right,
so I
right.
just like I I don't have anything against the movie besides I already know what happened to the character, and like
Yeah.
I just like I won't watch. Like I'm good on King Kong remakes. I'm good. Like
See,
like I'm done. Like
those
I'm
new
good.
ones are really good. You need to watch them, Evan.
Oh, yeah. So the current ones I'm okay on.
Okay.
Like, but like I don't if they redo Kong, like Kong
Oh,
doesn't die
gotk.
at the end
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
first. Like I'm talking about OG King Kong, like
Okay.
climbs a building,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
gets
yeah.
the girl out of the thing, gets shot down, and was the man who killed like no,
Okay.
I'm good. I don't need to see that
Yeah,
anymore, right?
you're
Like
right. You're right. I'm
you know
good
what
on
I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah.
So like I'm okay on that. So when I already know what happens to a character, and it wasn't even just like I got to the end of the book, like I skipped the last page, read the last page, but okay, that's how it ends. No, like I watched her in like 30 movies, and then she has this great, climactic send off. Like they're fighting to kill each other. Who is going to kill each other to save the world? Like
Yeah, yeah.
amazing, cool little thing. And then they're like, oh, now she's getting a movie 3 years later, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this should have came out before. Like they
Yeah.
should have
I
like
think Disney went through this phase where they were criticized for not having female-led
female led,
superhero movies.
yeah,
So they're like,
which is fair. Yeah.
Black Widow, you get a movie. The Wasp, you're now in the
Yeah.
title of the next Ant-Man. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
and I would be fine with the movie being a prequel. I just it was boring. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah. So yeah, that's a Spider-Man movies. Yeah, I forgot. Far From Home. That's how
No, I mean,
meh it is. I forgot it existed.
yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, wasn't there Mysterio in one of these?
Yeah, yeah. All right, perfect. So let's kind of move on to the next section, and this is kind of a again, I didn't want to jump into a whole bunch of superhero movies, so I just thought it'd be cool if we gave our top three Marvel MCU, because even though Spider-Man is a Sony product or a Sony licensed out character for now, I'm assuming Disney will buy them at some
Yeah.
point. Um, he's part of the MCU proper, and all of the other Spider-Man villain movies like Venom and Morbius, I think they're keeping them separate and not putting Spider-Man in on purpose for now.
Okay. Was it weird that Mobius is getting its own movie?
Yeah,
He's getting his own movie.
I
Is
mean
it
it.
like
To
like
to to be honest, the trailer looks really cool, but it's not hard to make trailers look good these days.
agree? So I all I remember from Mobius was there was an episode of the Spider-Man animated show where Blade was on it,
Yeah,
and so was Mobius because if it was a vampire, he had to be in there.
yeah,
And remember, he did they couldn't have him biting next, so they had him like suck plasma through his hands or something like
yeah,
lame like that. I don't really remember, but uh, I just remember reading and seeing him very briefly, and
yeah,
then they do the whole like he's getting his own movie, and it's Jared Leto, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay,
The world's current overactor. Like he's like the Sean Penn
dude,
of our generation,
ah,
you know?
yeah, man, like
Yeah.
it's too bad.
I
Just like
here's what would be cool though. Marvel is doing Blade at some point. It would be
yeah, I
amazing
think so.
if instead, not just Spider-Man crossed
Ooh,
over, but they did a
yeah.
Blade Morbius or Mobius, whatever it's called,
Dude,
crossover. How cool
just
would
put
that
them
be?
back to back, fighting vampires down in the sewer system. Like,
Yeah.
let's go. All right, I'm in. Like, I think a lot of times movie studios overdo all I'm asking for. So, you know what I want out of a Blade Morbius movie? Back to back in a hallway of an
Yeah.
abandoned hospital fighting vampires. Give me
Yeah.
that for an hour and a half. You can be one long fight scene. They go and like they rest. Maybe they have little
Yeah.
respites while like they're waiting for the next wave to come or something. Just do that for like hour 20 minutes. Make it feature length,
We're good.
and then like
Just make it John Wick with
I'm good.
vampires. You did it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's it. Like I don't need like origin story. I don't need like a love interest. I don't need social commentary in it. Like all those things have their place. I just need like just give me the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like just give
Yeah.
me this like action thing. Uh like
Fair.
especially in a Marvel movie, right? Like a
Yeah.
movie where I'm going in just like I know what my $15 is gonna do. Like I'd love to see our current society talked about in movies. I think it's interesting when they piece it in and do stuff. Not in
Yeah.
a Blade movie. Not in a Blade Morbius crossover movie. I don't need to see it, but
Fair. Fair.
uh
All
yeah,
right.
just
Yeah.
let
So
me watch guys
let's.
fight.
Yeah. All right. So let's leave those out for now. Like no Venom. No, we haven't seen Morbius, but I think Venom's the
Yeah,
only one that's like in Sony right now, aside from Spider-Man. So the mainline
yeah.
MCU movies, including the two Spider-Man movies. We'll do a top three. So you do want to list your number three favorite Marvel movie? Which one is it?
All right. So I made the list. I already know what my top two are, but I really like Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
I thought that was really good. So it was either that or Captain America. I really like honestly, my worst original first three list. I'll save my top two. I won't spoil those here, but it was going to be Captain America 1, Iron Man 1, and Thor 1.
Thor one. I'm not a fan of Thor one.
So,
It's fine.
so because Thor 1 came out and it was I'm like I look it was okay, but then Thor 2 came out and it was really bad. That
Yeah,
made Thor 1 look really bad, like a lot better
that's
to me. I
true.
think more fondly on Thor 1. But I really like those three origin movies that kind of got everything, kicked off.
Yeah,
But yeah, mine is Thor Ragnarok. I thought that was a lot of fun.
yeah.
Great cameos. Just it it's what Thor needed. Like no one, we don't need another tough guy. We got the
It
whole
fixed the
thing of that.
character, right? It fixed like
Yeah,
it fixed because Thor was kind of the third wheel, right? If you think of the big three, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, where they got their own trilogies. Captain America and Iron Man have their kind of big conflict throughout the arc, and Thor's just kind of there, showing up, and then going off on his own adventures. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So
So it was just funny. It was good. The Hulk scenes were like gave Hulk actual like stuff to do
yeah,
and say besides anger, Hulk smash, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
Hulk raging fire, you little fire. Well, I think I'm a pretty big fire too. No, no.
yeah, and
Like it,
yeah, yeah.
it
So
was really good. So
this was going to be my number three because I agree it's a fantastic film. The action's great, the jokes, the film is flat out hilarious. I love the Rock guy. He's one of my favorite like cameo like
oh yeah.
small Marvel characters. Um, but it got kicked off the list this year, actually, Evan,
Oh no.
by Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings,
Good pick.
which
Good pick.
is an incredible movie. And I think all three of mine have something in common, and that's it, that the villain is incredibly compelling. I noticed that when
Yeah.
I put on, and Thor Ragnarok doesn't really have a great villain. Like Jeff Goldblum is funny, and
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett. I don't even remember the Hela, I think is who she's playing.
Yeah. She's the goddess of death.
And it's like that's fine, but it's not really about the villains. It's just about
Yeah.
Thor
No.
going on an adventure. Whereas Shang-Chi, his father is the villain, and his motivations are fantastic. And you know, you think he's just going to be this evil guy, but he's a loving father. He's just too disciplinary and
Okay.
too
Yeah.
easily tricked by emotions. But the reason he's doing what he does is he truly believes it's the right thing. He
Yeah.
truly believes that he's going to save his family and save his wife, and I love that. On top of that, the action is some of the best in the MCU. It's that bus scene is incredible. That fight
Yeah.
towards the end, it gets a little CGI heavy, but that's pretty much every Marvel movie ever.
Yeah. And they've like because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah,
Right. Like
yeah.
just
That's one of the
that's like Black
reasons.
Panther.
Yeah, Black
Right. Like
Panther, exactly. Like
most
the end.
Black Panthers okay. Then it got to
Yeah,
the end.
the end is honestly that's one of the worst ending fights I've in a Marvel movie. Actually,
Dude.
along with Black Widow. They're pretty
Yeah.
they're pretty terrible, honestly. But I prefer endings like Captain Marvel or Doctor Strange, where Doctor Strange solves the problem with his time powers, and he can never beat a
Oh,
god.
so good.
And then
Yeah. Yeah.
Captain Marvel is like, Jude Law's character asks to fight, and she's like, "Actually, just way stronger than you, so I'm just gonna punch you once, and then I win." And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a perfect ending. He's like nothing to her.
Yeah. Yeah. That was
I
really
loved that
cool.
ending. But
It's
yeah, Shang-Chi just almost perfect. Almost perfect, like a 9 out of 10 on the Marvel movie scale. Like definitely one of the best, obviously in my top three. So
yeah, I didn't even really think to put some of the new ones in because I kind of forget they're even Marvel movies.
yeah,
Like to be real honest with you, because I watched Shang Chi and I didn't think where does this fit into the MCU like I do every like I did pretty much honestly like after Endgame I kind of stopped caring like
yeah,
because it was over, right? Like it was
yeah,
literally called Endgame, right? And
yeah,
like a movie here had come out, a movie there, and I remember just being like, well, okay, Spider-Man was fun, but again, I didn't think like man, how does this wrap around back into I was
yeah.
just like, "Oh, cool, the Iron Man's here." Right? It wasn't
Right.
like
And I feel
I
like
don't know.
they got rid of a lot of relatable characters, and like Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel are super strong, but they're not super compelling characters to me.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man is Sony, so he could go at any time, and he's a lot of comic relief. And then Black Panther was like kind of the most relatable, like Steve Rogers type character. But
Yeah.
then the actor Boseman there, he died, like he passed away,
He passed
unfortunately.
away. Yeah.
So that really sucks. Like I'm sure they
Yeah.
had major plans for him to be like the main like Steve Rogers of
Yeah, I'd love
this
that,
side.
right?
So
Like, and it's really too bad they killed Killmonger too,
did
right?
they
Like in
kill
the
him?
movie, they,
Yeah.
I think they killed Killmonger in the
Okay.
movie. I mean, they can always bring him back. It's
Yeah.
Marvel, so
Yeah.
like,
Uh,
because he would have been a, maybe a,
like a backup.
yeah, like because his some of his points in the movie weren't like wrong, right? He's like
Yeah.
some of the things he said and did were like, okay, again, like a kind of compelling villain, where he's like, I'm not just mustache twirlingly evil.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
scene
You
where he just
can.
like sits down and like, ah, dude, it was
Yeah. He
really good.
definitely some people think like he's the good guy. Like his plan is to like murder women and children. So he is definitely the bad
Yes,
guy.
that
But like
that that that's true.
yeah, there's a compelling reason for him to be doing what he's doing and to be a bad person, to be making bad decisions, right? Same with Shang-Chi, right? Like what his dad is
Yeah,
doing is actively bad, but the reasons he's doing them and why he's doing them and his reasoning, it kind of works in his own brain. So that's
yeah,
all you need
yeah,
to be a good villain. So
yeah. I'm not saying, yeah, yeah. That's I'm not like he's not as compelling to me as like the Vulture was, but he
yeah.
still like had some points. Maybe it would be cool like a risen hero, like a restoration arc for him in the next one. maybe
Yeah.
they make a tribute to the original actor in like the next movie, and he's got to pick up the mask. Like something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like they could have done like what do
Yeah.
I know? I'm just a guy. But
Michael
uh
Jordan's a great actor too, so he would be able to pull that
yeah.
off, I think. So, all right,
Um
what's your number two movie?
to your chagrin, Guardians of the Galaxy number 2.
Yeah, I don't.
Yo,
This is just fine. It's a fine movie.
I love the dad arc. I like it quite a bit. I'm a big sucker for found family versus uh like real family. Like so because
Yeah,
Guardians are a family, right? Like they kind of like they're all misfits. They all manage to get together. And like it's Quill just really wanted to see his dad, and his
yeah,
dad turns out to be a god, but also like a monster. And so he's gotta come to grips with like like it was I thought it was just fun. And Yondu got like a decent send off, right?
I did like the Yondu stuff. Yeah, yeah. What did he
Like
say?
he actually
He may be your father, but I'm your daddy. Whatever. I think it's something like that.
yeah, a Mary Poppins, y'all. Like as takes the thing and takes off, like a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
great stuff. The soundtrack was good. Um, I liked it as much as the first, but it's the first sequel I think I've seen in a while where a direct sequel, I guess, where I wasn't like I wasn't watching it and like going out of the end, and be like, nah. Right, like
Fair.
I watched the whole thing and I'm like, all right, that was good. Like even the parts where like because Quill and Rocket have this like ego thing, and they're trying to fly a ship, and
Yeah.
they're like ramming everything because they can't figure out who's going to do what. Um, no, really, I'm a big Guardians fan. The new game's excellent.
I've heard
With
good
that, I even
things.
run them in Marvel Crisis Protocol. They're my team, the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like that misfit like thing, but no, number
Yeah.
two.
All right, fair. I disagree with it being a top three, but it's not an actively bad movie. It's a perfectly passable film in the Marvel universe. I put it like mid tier, like better than better than like the Black Panther, better than Black Widow, better than like Age of Ultron, but not like
Yeah,
especially
that's fine. I
once you
mean,
get towards the end of it in that final action scene, I'm just like, it's whatever. So
Pat, this is my list, Pat.
okay,
This is my top three,
I'm
Pat.
sorry. All right, so my number two
Yeah.
is actually Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay, yeah,
S-
that's good.
because for all the reasons we've talked about previously, which is the
Yeah,
villain's fantastic. He has a reason to do what he's doing. Tom Holland is an excellent Spider-Man. Again, even though he's he's a handsome young man, like he'd probably be a jock in his school, but he acts nerdy and he acts awkward. And everyone in the movie is fantastic. MJ, I can't remember his friend's name. The teachers are great. There was this is the
yeah.
first movie where they actually have teachers, and some of the teachers are what's one of the teachers, I can't remember his name, but he's from Party Down, and he's just fantastic. The guy who takes them on the field trip, who's in charge of
Oh
the
yeah,
quiz
yeah,
team.
yeah,
He's been a
yeah.
he's been in a bunch of stuff. Was he in Silicon Valley? Was that him? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But either way, he's funny, and everyone just puts in a great performance. The action's incredible. You know, Tom Holland kind of learning the Spider-Man suit, and even the idea of like a young Spider-Man in whenever this was released, 2018, when he's got the cell phone footage. Just really,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
everything's well done. It meshes perfectly into the Marvel universe, even though it's technically a Sony movie, and
yeah. That's
just
why I
amazing.
forgot it. It even had, like because it kind of came out after Endgame, right?
No, it
Did
was
it? I
before
think so.
Endgame.
Was it before Endgame?
Yeah, the
And
first
I
one
think
was
of the next
before. Yeah,
Spider-Man. Okay, I'm thinking of that
yeah.
one we keep forgetting.
Homecoming
Yeah, I
came
just
out
kind of
after
forgot.
Civil War because Civil War introduced him into the Marvel universe.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah,
it. Okay,
yeah.
good pick. Good
Thank
pick.
you, thank you. All right, what could your number one be?
Guardians number one, baby. Mostly because it was such a shock about it, right? Because
Yeah,
I didn't read the comics. I didn't know who Guardians were, and I remember like seeing the movie. I'm like, yeah, well, this looks interesting. And I go and I see it, and I was like blown away. I was just like, how goofy and fun you could make a Marvel movie because all the others were pretty serious,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like they had their funny bits, but they were all like Captain America. Like I like it, but it's still like evil mustache twirling Red Skull wants to
Yeah, yeah,
use the cube to kill everybody. I don't know, world domination, something like
yeah, yeah,
beyond, right? Like,
yeah.
but this was just like the villain was, like they introduced Thanos at the end of it, right?
That's true.
Like
Yeah, that
just
was the
that
free. Yeah,
that little second thing, right?
yeah,
They're going for the stones. The villain was the God, what was his name? He's a character in actually
uh,
MCP.
Ronan.
Ronan the Accuser.
Yeah,
Like he was all right,
yeah,
but like the ending thing where like the dance off, like
yeah. So
that
good.
was the big fight at the end was a dance off, right? Like
Right. Yeah,
great stuff. Like all the character moments, Rocket's like, and I gonna need his eye, right? Like all
yeah.
these little
I need you to
when you
get
do
me.
the
I
eye,
need
it's
you to
not
get me a leg. Oh my God! You thought I was serious?
yeah. Dude, it's so good. So
Yeah,
it's kind of funny the whole way through. Um I don't know, I really don't have the pacing was fine if I remember. I remember
yeah,
like not being bored during the
yeah.
whole thing.
I remember you said you were, it was kind of like a shock how good it was. I remember specifically after the movie was over, my wife and I saw it in the theaters, and I didn't really expect anything,
Yeah.
but we were so surprised how good it was because it's a big. That was like Marvel's first big risk because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not like it's not like making Captain America and Thor where those have a lot of built in. Even the comic book readers, there's not a ton of comic book readers for Guardians previous to
Yeah.
this, right? People know them, but they're not
I
main
didn't.
like
Yeah.
I'd never heard of them. So this was like
Yeah.
if that failed, like you wouldn't have like the Eternals now or Shang-Chi, right?
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
so it was a huge risk and it also introduced the cosmic element, which then Thor Ragnarok
Yeah.
came into later on, right? Is they took Thor and they're like, okay, we're gonna make him part of like the space, not just the
Yeah. Yeah.
space
Yeah.
team, but like the space
Just
kind
like
of
that crew.
theming.
Yeah.
Yeah, the color.
Yeah.
There's like a different color palette. It's all like bright blue and neon
It's
colors
all
and
80s.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
why
yeah,
maybe I love that. I love a good 80s theme.
yeah, yeah,
Like my stream's all 80s, like cuts and things like that. So that coloring, that neon coloring, like
yeah,
it just does something in my brain that makes a lizard like clap his hands, like
yeah,
yes, bright colors. Like it really does something great. So no, yeah, I that's my number one because that's a movie I can go back and watch. Soundtrack was awesome. That intro scene, man, I still say like I'm Star Lord.
yeah.
Who?
Ooh.
Like that still gets me like every time, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's all these little great stuff.
yeah. All right, my number one also has Spider-Man in it, Tom Holland. But this is Captain America: Civil War. I
Really?
am
That's your number one?
I I think it's my number one by a far margin. Like if I were to rank
Wow.
the
Okay.
Marvel movies, this would be no, like uncontested number one.
Wow. All right.
And I love I love as a trilogy. Captain America I think has the best overall trilogy
Yes.
from
Yeah.
1, 2, and
Agree.
3. 2 is Winter Soldier is fantastic and it is probably in the top like 10 or 5. But
Yeah.
Civil War does what I thought was really going to be impossible to do, which is take Captain America and Iron Man, Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, make them their antagonists of each other, but still protagonists in the film. You love both of them. They both have a point, and there's not some silly contrivance that turns them into enemies. They have not like what was the Batman versus Superman movie? You know, they get tricked into fighting, and then their mother's name is the same. Like, who who
Yeah.
the one time we want the studio to interfere, they don't. You know what I mean? Like, who wrote that and
Yeah.
thought
Save
this
Martha.
people will like this plot twist? No, they won't. But
Yeah.
in here, it works perfectly. The conflict is incredible. The fight at the end is a little CGI, but it's still a fight between Steve Rogers and Iron Man, and it's absolutely incredible. I love the villain. Baron Zemo is one of my favorite MCU villains, right up there with the Vulture, because he's just a guy. He's
Yeah.
just he has no superpowers. He just uses his intellect to trick the heroes into fighting each other because he knows how to set that conflict. And then
Yeah.
even in when he shows up in Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he's perfect again. And like his whole idea of like there cannot be equality while there is supremacy among humans. This idea of like
Yeah.
total equality, you can't have superheroes, can't make them.
Yeah.
He actually has a point, right? In
Yeah.
that show, they're like making super soldiers, and he's like, as soon as you do that, it's over. And so I love his idea, like the idea of his character in the Marvel movies, where he just wants to get rid of them because ultimately that ambition and that power is what caused his family to be killed. I believe in the
Yeah.
Age of Ultron. So, but God, I love that movie. I'll watch it anytime. It's still
Oh,
got the
cool. All right.
comedy, but the conflict, so good, so good.
Honestly, I didn't think that was going to be your number one.
Yeah,
I mean, I like it quite a bit, but
yeah.
that's surprise. Okay, all right, I
I
respect it.
will die on the hill of that movie being
Hey, I
incredible.
got no like, I got no hey pal, hey.
Yeah, yeah. And it introduced Spider-Man, it introduced Black Panther. That's both of their first movies,
Yep,
and it
yep,
still had a coherent story, right?
yeah,
Whereas,
yep.
some
Yo,
Marvel movies suffer,
that Black Panther and that Spider-Man intro are pretty hype when they both
Yes.
show up the first time. You're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most viewed trailers of all time is the one where is the Civil War trailer where Spider-Man grabs the shield and jumps on to the car.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that 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 moment is like one of the most remembered trailer moments of all time,
it's
you know?
hype.
Yeah,
It's really hype. Yeah,
super
it's
hype.
really good.
All right, let's jump on then. I don't really have any books or comics. I don't read Spider-Man or superhero comics.
I don't read
I don't
things.
read superhero comics, Evan. Um, but you don't do you have anything for books or comics, Evan?
Yeah, I do. I've got one that you probably haven't read or heard. It's called "Soon I Will Be Invincible," and it's a story about a kind of like washed up Magneto kind of supervillain who had tried to take over the world via like armies of fishmen and fungus people and death rays and mind control devices, and he just never could get it together. And a he teams up with a brand new a rookie superhero who she's like she's like cyborg more or less from the Teen Titans, and it's their dynamic. And what I liked is that it wasn't a romantic dynamic, which that already puts it just above for me that they don't have to fall in love, right?
Yeah.
Because he's an old
Yeah.
dude and she's young, and so they don't. It doesn't get creepy, which is nice.
Yeah.
But it's like he has a couple like at the end, if I remember, has a great chance to like do it, and he's like, no, like it's almost like when Doctor Doom took over the world. Like he won. I think in one of the comic series, he became a god, but he threw it away because he's like it was boring.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean anything. So he almost does it. Like great story. Uh, really fun read if you get a chance to read through it. If you get on Audible, the voice actor like nailed it. Like this he sounds like an old Magneto kind of guy. Like uh super good story. A lot of fun. If you get a chance to do it, it's I recommend it because it's something not enough people have really seen. And then it's just a one shot
Yeah.
too. So there's not like a huge you don't have to read like 5 books or anything. It's just one solid book.
Good. Can I read the first paragraph of the book synopsis, which I find quite amusing?
Yeah.
It's Dr. Impossible, evil genius, diabolical scientist, wannabe world dominator, languishes in a federal detention facility. He's lost his freedom, his girlfriend, and his hidden island fortress.
Dude, it's so good because it's I liked it because it was it's that classic uh that classic like villain, right? Like
Right.
evil genius kind of villain, but he he's just like an old dude. I don't even remember what his power was. I think he's just like a smart guy. Like he didn't really have like any like superpowers. So he's dealing with all these guys with like ray guns and stuff like that, or stuff he's built. Like it's a good read if you get a chance to do it.
Fair, fair. All right, awesome, awesome. So let's jump on to video games or games in general. First one I want to talk about is the insanely obvious one, the PS4 Spider-Man game by Insomniac. Evan,
Mhm.
have you played this?
I played some of it. I haven't gotten all the way through.
Gotcha. I don't finish games very often. I've played this one not once all the way through, but twice all the way through. And I'm talking like go on all the side quests and find all the question
Yeah.
marks on the map, played all the way through. This game, it's kind of cliche, but it makes you feel like Spider-Man.
Okay.
And you
All
know,
right.
I spent hours just web slinging around the city, like not doing anything.
Yeah.
I've never used the teleport system once ever. Like if I had to go to the other end of the map, I was like, sweet, here we go, Spider-Man
Yeah.
again. It's just incredible, an incredible game. It lifts the combat system essentially from Arkham Asylum, that kind of beat 'em up, counter, throw
Yeah.
'em, that type of thing, combo tastic. So it's as good as Arkham Asylum when you look at, kind of the fighting, but then you add in the web slinging, all the gadgets he has, and the way he can interact with the environment and kind of uses webs and like super strength to kind of like, do like special finishers and things like that. Just the story's pretty decent as well. There's some like kind of boring game stuff, like there's kind of like a puzzle sequence where you have to like fix circuits on thing because in the
Yeah.
he works for Dr. Octopus. That's a little bit boring and like it's relatively easy. Like at no point was I like, I have to look up the answer to this because I'm confused.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a little boring. And then there's a couple of MJ when you take the role of MJ sometimes and Miles Morales as well. And those are a little bit boring because you immediately lose your powers and all you're doing is like running around, like sneaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're a little bit long because sometimes you're like sneaking for like 15 minutes. You're like, God, just please don't look at me so I can sneak past and get past this level. But
Yeah. Yeah.
anytime you're in you're Spider-Man, it's just incredible. My only wish is for them to come out with like a VR version of that game. I know it'd probably be too intensive graphics wise, but it's one of the best video games I've ever played and definitely the best Spider-Man game. I remember playing like the PS2 Spider-Man when it came out, and the web sling was pretty cool in that too,
Mhm.
but it was relatively a terrible game.
I
Like,
was I was gonna say I've got a signed copy of Spider-Man 2 by the
wow,
developers.
wow.
Mm. I mean,
Excuse me, let me zip up
not
my.
saying I'm kind of a big deal, but so it's funny because I I don't think I'd recommend Spider-Man 2. So your Spider-Man, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
super great. Play it, and they also got the rights to do. They've got the Miles Morales coming out
yeah.
expansion, and then they got the rights to do Wolverine, which
Really
is oh yeah, yeah, that was big. Yeah,
okay,
so they got the trailer is guys coming to a bar, and then there's him at the bar, and then they like smash ball or something. You see his claws come out, and then that just cuts. Like it's supposed to be a
interesting.
more mature game too, so we might actually get some like
Yeah,
Wolverine actually like dismembering people because he's fighting you with knives on his hands.
I hope
Like
so. I hope so.
yeah. But the Spider-Man 2 was my first big Spider-Man game where I'm like, holy crap, this is so good. And I remember, so Bruce Campbell did all the voices for all the little nook and cranny things you could find, like hints and little Spider-Man tips. And then you find one says, if you find every one of these like little tips, I'll say something different. And I'm like, oh, so I got found them all right. And I go to my favorite ones, the top of the building. I'm climbing all the way up, and I click on it, and Bruce Campbell says something different. And I was upset.
Oh man, as a
Like,
kid you're upset, but
no.
like as an adult, it's like
Oh, it's
that's just
hilarious. Yeah.
perfect. Yeah,
Chef's kiss.
yeah.
My recommendation is actually I'll stick with PlayStation because I think Naughty Dog did this one too. Infamous. Did you ever get a chance to play those?
I've never played it. I've seen it played. I know what the series is about. He's kind of like he's got energy, right?
Yeah, he is a superhero. Oh, it's Sucker Punch Productions. So they made like two. Yeah, they had Second Son. Uh, it's like you're a superhero with lightning powers,
Okay,
and it has like this good bad thing where you can be a good guy, be a bad guy. Like it's bad. They didn't really do enough with it, but it was cool to have. It's a superhero game, not based on anything. It's
okay,
just their own guy, their own thing. And like his son, the second son, uh, like the sequel, he's got like a smoke instead of like lightning. This guy's got smoke, and
okay,
so it's like a
okay.
cool like just different kind of thing, right? Like a different set of powers.
Yeah.
But Infamous is great. Like it's a Sony exclusive. Not talked about enough, I don't think. Infamous was a lot of fun. You have lightning power. You grind on power poles, like from line to line. You're
Okay,
just like
okay.
riding the lightning around. You have like shock lightning. And then there was a game that came out that tried to really like rip it off. Uh, gosh, they made two of them, and the cover was the guy with a blade in his arm, and he wore a hoodie. Uh, games like, let me see, games like Infamous. Where is it? It was not good. I just remember because I was trying to be edgy. So Infamous was rated T. Prototype. That's it.
Okay.
Prototype. So if you didn't own a PlayStation, you bought Prototype. Was there like
Version of
their
it.
yeah. So
Okay.
Infamous came out, I think, back in around 2009. Infamous 2 was 2011, and Infamous Second Son 2014. And then Prototype was 2009, and they made Prototype 2 2012, which was bad too. It just wasn't. It was more based on like the gore. I remember not like 100%, but I was trying to be edgier than Infamous, and it had the
Yeah,
same thing:
yeah,
open
yeah.
world, go do whatever you want. You're a monster, and you're just beating up civilians. You take over body. Like I remember playing it. Yeah, GameStop gave it a 3.4 out of 5. IMDb gave it 7.4 out of 10, which I think is very high.
I was
But
gonna say
those
IGN's lowest score I think is a 6, right?
yeah, Jesus
unless
Christ.
unless you don't
And
pay them.
yeah, then it's real low.
Yeah.
But man, I just looked at all these covers from back then. I used to work at an EB Games at a GameStop, and some of these like gun last like that's old 2005 that came out. PlayStation All Stars, Sly Cooper. Man, this is like a way throwback moment. But
Yeah.
Infamous is very good, and it's a Sony
Interesting.
exclusive. If you ever get a chance to play it, you can get it for like a song, I bet now. But
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
a lot of great superhero stuff out right now. Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
excellent single player adventure. Like a full 20-hour single player game,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
There
Like,
was like a Marvel like MMO that came out recently, but apparently
yeah,
it's absolutely terrible, so I have not tried it.
really.
How,
It's on Game Pass,
how
so it's
yeah.
worth free,
Okay.
especially to do the single player. The Black Panther missions I hear are very good.
Okay. I
Like,
know
brings you
they're releasing Spider-Man for it, so that's why I bring it up.
for PlayStation only.
I
Yeah,
wonder
that's
if that's a
actually
rights thing with Insomniac. I bet it is.
yeah. There's a big to do about that because the
Yeah.
game is struggling because it's a lot of microtransactions.
Yeah.
It's not great. But and then so let's say you did like it. Let's say you like. I can see people liking it. That's okay, right? You're just
Yeah.
like, hey, I just want to play Captain America, beat up some bad guys when I get home from work, and not really worry
Yeah.
about anything. Okay, man, cool, no problem. Let's say you own it on Xbox though. PlayStation gets more game than you
Yeah.
for no reason, right? It's not like
Yeah. We
it's
should
something only the
be
PlayStation can handle, right?
yeah, we should be past this, right? Like have they not learned their lessons from like if you're doing microtransactions, they better be cosmetics. You know what I mean? Like why
Yeah,
like no one wants pay to win. No one wants you can play it on this version of the game but not this one. Like it's so like are we
it's
not
it,
past that?
it kills me that okay, you know what? Like I can't play Ghost of Tsushima because I don't have I would play on the PS5. I wouldn't play on my I have a Gen 1 PS4. Not gonna even like
Yeah.
try. Would I love to play Ghost of Tsushima? Oh, absolutely. But me owning an Xbox, I don't get a copy of Ghost of Tsushima that doesn't have like the ninja parts of the game. Right?
Right,
Like it's
right.
I'm not getting a separate but not full product
Right.
like you are with
Right.
this. And that's what really bothers me is like let's say you own it on Switch, man, I don't know,
Yeah.
like some people just don't have access to everything that we do, right? So
Right. And
that's okay.
it's different than like an exclusive game, right? Cuz like
Yeah.
the first of all, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, like period.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they would deny Xbox it as a spite thing. But you
Yeah.
know, if they want to release a full Spider-Man game like they did for the PlayStation 4, that's perfectly fine because they own the studio that's making it. That's their
Correct.
right. But it
Yeah.
starts to get scummy when you're like, hey, you can use everyone can have this game, but my audience has a special thing. Just don't sell the game
Yeah.
then. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's what just bothered me. It's like
yeah.
it's not so much that console exclusive. Like, would I love to play Infamous on my Xbox? Sure, because I don't
Yeah.
have to get out my PlayStation 3 and play it right. I can just turn it on and go. I'd
Yeah.
love to, but like I understand that that's how exclusives work, but it's not like, again, I didn't get like like Mario Kart on my Xbox. I'm like, well,
Right.
Mario's not in it. He's only on Nintendo. And be like, "Pff, what? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah. Only
yeah,
only
go
only
easy.
only the Switch gets blue shells. No one else gets blue shells.
Right? It's kind of like what it is, right? It's not even that it's
Yeah.
I'm not. It's the fact, and they charge you the same price. They're not like, hey Pat, um, you don't get Spider-Man, but we'll give it to you for $20 less or $15. It's like, oh, all right. I don't
Yeah.
like it, but at least like I'm not paying full price. But I
Right.
am now, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my big gripe. But
Agree.
if
Agree.
like if you have Xbox Game Pass, the Marvel single player stuff you do go through is a lot of fun
Okay.
in the new Marvel game. Just don't worry about the rest.
Don't pay for it. If it's free, you can do it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. If you got Game Pass, man,
Yeah.
dude, you get to play Forza Horizon 5 right now. You got Halo Infinite multiplayer. You got
Yeah.
that. You just play it and then just be done. Be like,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right, I'm out. Like,
Fair. Fair. All right. So before we end the episode, I do have some board games to talk about because
okay.
obviously I love me some board games.
You?
Um, yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit. Evan, I've got more games here. I've got 9 games that are coming on the way. I got nowhere to put them. I got to figure out a solution here.
Oh, I got a bunch on my floor you can have too. Don't worry about it. We'll just let
Perfect.
you up.
Perfect. I'll bring them over when we go to PAX. We can just store them there.
Perfect. All right. Oh yeah, we'll be at PAX.
We will be at PAX. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be at PAX. I'll probably be in the Legion area. Are you playing X-Wing?
I'm gonna play X-wing, and then when I'm not playing X-wing, I'm gonna play Commander or just try and get some board games in with you and Dave and maybe some strangers. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Like
So
last time when we did Root,
yeah,
and that guy just showed up and he was
yeah,
like trying to like, so it was cool. He's teaching us the game, but he's trying to like guilt me into giving him my copy. He's like, well, I only have the printed plan. I'm like, yeah, tough, dude. So
yeah,
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 sorry,
yeah,
man. Like I just paid in line for this.
yeah. Well, like people hold like signs like "Come and play a game with me." I'll if you guys are doing like
Yeah,
Legion, I'll just go, and obviously I'm gonna spend money on board games. So
of course.
um, but yeah, so we'll be there. But the 2 games I want to talk about, they're very similar. One is called Legendary Marvel, which is a
Okay. Yep.
deck building game based around obviously the Marvel universe. I don't actually like it. I have the Aliens Legendary game, which is based on
Yeah.
the Aliens and Predator license, which is much better. Marvel Legendary, just it's kind of one of those co-op games, but there's a winner, and it should have just been full co-op. Um,
Yeah, that sucks.
yeah, so whereas the aliens one is full co-op, you're just trying to help each other survive. But it does have Spider-Man. It has pretty much everything Marvel you can think of. There's about 1,000 expansions for it,
Yeah.
so it's got a ton of Spider-Man content. But the one I want to talk about is kind of the off-brand of that. It's called Sentinels of the Multiverse, and
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you can see. You probably can't see it over there, but there's that giant black box behind me, and that has everything Sentinels of the Multiverse. It is a beast. I mean, it's like 50 pounds. It's got every card in there. And it's more based off of the DC universe. There's not actually a Spider-Man type character, but what they do is they take these kind of characters that and they make like alternate versions of them that are their own IP. So instead of Superman, you have a character called Legacy who looks like Superman. He's got the cape and the symbol, and his powers are like Superman. And each character, and there's dozens upon dozens. I think I have over 30 characters, has their own deck of cards that you shuffle, and then you all team up cooperatively to take on a villain. And I want to say there's over 20 villains, and then you also pick an environment to play in that does certain things. And then they had a bunch of expansions for it. Like later on, some of the bad guys became good guys, and then the last expansion they team up to take on the Thanos character, which is like you can play like a 4-hour game where this guy's got multiple levels of trying to take him down.
Yeah.
It's a really, really fantastic game. There's a lot of satire in Sentinels. There's a Deadpool knockoff called,
Okay.
I think his name is Guys, but all of his cards are him just like talking to you. Um,
Ah, that's pretty good.
yeah, and so like there's a one card that like if you like call someone an idiot at the table, you can just take another turn. It's like this card says call someone an idiot. Now just take another turn. I guess that was your turn. And so each of the flavor text on the cards has a character reference, like a quote from a comic book, and then the number of the comic book in. So it's got like this cool flavor text. If you're
Yeah,
looking for something that's off the beaten path, so far as it's not just these characters again, it's something similar but different and fun in its own unique way. Even picking up like one of the base sets is way worth it, but like I said, I have everything. I have the collector's edition, and just an incredibly fun game to get into and play. So and cooperative. So there's no that we win together, but one of us is going to win more type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And then the other game I want to briefly touch on is something, again, because I'm aware that a lot of our audience might not be into kind of heavier games. So I'll talk about a game called Marvel Splendor really quick, which is Splendor is a very, very light engine building game. It's very easy to learn. Pretty much anyone can play it. If you've played a board game, you can learn Splendor. And Marvel is essentially the reskin of Splendor. So instead of the stones you have to get the Infinity Gems. And then you use those gems to recruit characters, including all of the Spider-Man characters, as well as like Captain America, Iron Man, that type of thing. And so it's just a very, very light game that has a Marvel skin on it. It's not super thematic, but if you're new to games and you want something for your family, or
yeah.
maybe like a younger kid, I think you could probably be like 10 and play this pretty easily. You don't, it's not a
Okay.
very difficult game. If you're looking for something like that, go and pick up Marvel Splendor. It's probably on sale like for the Christmas holiday season. Absolutely fantastic game. It's a little entry level, so don't pull it out very often, but I never get rid of it because in case there's someone new, it's a perfect game to pull out and be like, "Hey, you like Avengers or like Spider-Man? I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna trick you into playing a board game with me." So,
Yeah. I recommend Marvel Crisis Protocol, the miniature game.
okay.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's pretty entry level for a miniature game, as in you can just buy the heroes you want to play.
Yeah.
You don't need like it's not as investment heavy as other ones. It can be if you want everything, but
Yeah.
there's even a Spider-Man team. There's Spider Friends and Foes. So there's Spider Friends, which is like Venom is on both, which I find pretty cool. Venom,
Can you make a Sinister Six team?
yes,
Nice.
Sinister Six is in the game. And so what's cool is they add different like leadership bonuses. So like just a cat wants to get down. So for example, like there's Miles Morales as a team leader, Spider
Okay.
Gwen, the Amazing Spider-Man, just Spider-Man, and Venom. So you bring 10 heroes and you clip it down to wherever the points allow, and each hero's worth a certain amount of points.
Okay.
Um, and so they each have like there's two different Spider-Man leadership bonuses depending on which Spider-Man you take. The villains like they have like Fisk. They have so that's Kingpin. Green Goblin, and he's got a specific hate for Peter Parker. So if he's fighting Peter Parker, he gets like rerolls, and he has to attack Peter Parker, even if there's other like characters around. It's just Mysterio's in the game. Really cool, like Carnage.
Okay.
And so you can have these like cool like how it works is there's like a team build you do. So like there's the Defenders, there's the Avengers,
Yeah.
there's it's like
There's
Cosmic Threat is like
there's Guardians of the
Thanos'
Galaxy,
team.
right?
Yeah, and they actually just got a rework. So it's cool as they've been keeping up the game. But Guardians is I have my Guardian team, so I have a space board. So I got a space mat with a space terrain, and I have a Milano, their ship.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
it's a toy, but it looks just about the right size. It's like kind of small, but it looks probably the right size.
Yeah.
So the Milano in the corner, and so I have like the Guardians theme. And what's cool about the game is it actually could be played with like bottle caps because terrain can be thrown and destroyed and pushed around, and it's not like Legion or 40k or terrain's like very like, oh, I'm
This
gonna move
right.
my guy up.
This is a building, right?
Yeah, this is like, oh, it's a power conductor. The Hulk can just throw it. Like you can
Yeah.
actually destroy all the terrain on the board for just characters throwing stuff. Or like the Punisher can just blow it up. like
Okay.
in
Yeah.
C4 stuff. Like Moon Knight and Blade are coming out soon. Like there's a ton of characters. They do cosmic threats where you can team up. So like one of them's Thanos, and he kind of gets played by an AI, and so everyone's fighting against Thanos. There's one for who was the villain in Doctor Strange one?
Daramu,
Oh,
something like that.
Dormammu. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's it. Yeah,
Dormammu's
yeah,
got his own.
yeah.
His model's like that big, and
Wow.
he has his own cosmic threat thing where you can like all fight against Dormammu.
Nice.
So it's kind of like it's cool. Like it is a miniature game, so there's
Yeah.
building and painting and like stuff like that. But it's a fun like it's a cool hobby that if you like Marvel and you like miniature games, but
Yeah.
40K and Legion and everything else just seems a little bit too much. This one you can at least build and have cool models on your desk, and then decide if you want to play a game with it too.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of I got into miniature gaming through X-Wing because it's very entry level and it's a
Yep,
Star Wars IP, so it pulls people in. Would you
yep.
say Marvel Crisis Protocol is similar? If someone knows board games, they've thought about playing miniature games, but they feel overwhelmed. You say
Way
Marvel,
easy.
it's way easy to get in. How many you need
Yeah.
like 6 models for a team, right? Like that's it, or five or
Yeah,
six?
so honestly, you can so the if you're playing like official rules,
Yeah.
you bring like 10 models, then you pare it down to whatever the points are.
Okay.
But you can actually there's a core set which is like good guys versus bad guys, more or less. You could just that's a whole team.
Yeah.
Each you get two teams in there really. You don't really need anything else. Like it has Baron Zemo, isn't it
Oh,
actually?
really? Nice.
He's got a sword and a mask.
Evan, don't
Uh
trick me into playing this game. I see what you're
I,
doing.
I wasn't planning to. I just you mentioned Zemo and you're like, I really liked him. I'm like, oh yeah, like he's a sword guy in this. There's actually like I kind of stopped collecting because I got the Guardians and I didn't want. I mean, there's a lot of cool like Ghost Riders, like a huge model. Like
Okay.
it's cool looking. You can like grab people and drag them across the board.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and it's what's cool is there's only one die that's used. It's a D8, and there's shields, hits, wilds, and like skulls on it. So you roll like let's say I'm attacking, I roll 5 dice, I roll five. I'm looking for hits and wilds, and then on defense you roll and you're looking for wilds and shields. And so it's not like attack and defense dice or anything like that. Just one dice pool,
Yeah.
and each character is like X Men are all in it. Like, so you can do like X Men Team Gold or Blue, which is cool.
Interesting.
But you can like characters are just on the sheet, and how it works is you can if you kill a character, like you knock them out, they flip to their backside, so they have like a normal side and an injured side, and then
Gotcha.
they might get different powers. Like Wolverine gets a little bit more fierce when he's hurt. Like so, or like the Hulk only has one side. He's got like a ton of hit points, but the more damage you do to him, the stronger he gets. And so it's like, is it a perfect game? No, but it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And like, um, it they make like apartment building terrain you can get. Like the box actually comes with enough terrain to play, like the
Okay.
starter. So like,
Nice.
there's like some cars. It has a daily bugle. It has like some street lamps and stuff. Like it's cool. Like it's really a neat game. It's I hope it gets a little bit more popular
Yeah.
because I'd like to see it grow, and I'd like to see like, hey, maybe we do DC characters or maybe we do Star Wars characters. Like,
Yeah.
what? Who cares? Like, it's like I don't. My enjoyment isn't I'm fighting. I'm using Spider-Man and fighting Green Goblin. My enjoyment is like I think all these characters are cool. So if you showed up with like
Right.
Hulk, Luke Skywalker, and Cobra Commander, I'm like, yeah, all right,
Yeah.
okay. Like,
It's tough because the market's so saturated, and it's the same
oh,
with, if you
absolutely.
look at card games like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh have been around
Hmm.
forever, and
Flesh and blood. Yeah.
yeah, every year there's a new one that tries to come out, and sometimes they're big for a little bit and they fade away. Sometimes they stick around but are not super popular. And it's kind of similar to that, right? A lot of the miniature space is 40K, a
Is
lot
real
of
tough.
it.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of the
Tough.
casual crowd was an X-Wing. Now they're going over, some people are going to Legion. So when it's crowded, you have to work really hard to build that. I mean, Evan, how many miniature games, like core
Oh
sets do you
gosh.
have at your house? I can think of like several off the top of my head where you've kind of like,
Uh,
you know,
I wish I could turn my camera because I got a wall
yeah,
of
you've
just like, yeah,
you've got
I
the
see.
pirate one, you've got the samurai one.
Yeah,
There's like Infinity. So, but
yeah,
I think Marvel Crisis Protocol has, again, it's the IP, right? If you
yeah,
can trick people, like I got tricked into buying X-Wing. I saw a K-Wing from a book that I read, and I was like, wow, they
yeah.
really know their stuff, and like a year later, I had every ship in
Yeah,
the game at least one of. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
No, it's the
uh,
same thing.
yeah.
It's funny you say that because they have like they play to the fans a lot in this game. So there's like Hulkbuster armor coming out,
Okay,
where
nice,
he if he
nice.
explodes, Iron Man pops out, and he can like re-summon another one. Like it's they really you can tell they like the IP because some of the things they do and say, like Deadpool comes with a taco van and Bob, like the sidekick. So Deadpool's like riding on a rock. He's got three different heads. Like
Okay,
it's like the three different heads like swap out what you want Deadpool to look like. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's it's a cool game. I bought what I wanted. There is some chase to it where like you buy a hero pack like two heroes and like Wakanda Forever is a team. Like I didn't really want to play Wakanda Forever, but one of their packs came with a card I really wanted. So I
Mm,
bought it and I have unbuilt here. Like that's kind of what it is,
that's how they
can
get
be.
you.
But
Yeah,
uh if you just buy your heroes and you just play your cards with your hero, like you get 5 cards to bring in with you, or it might be 6 now with the new. Well, you get 10, you trim it down to 5 or 6 like power cards, and like one of the Guardians ones is like, um, they're all like quotes from the movie or the show, like Iron Man and uh, Iron Man and the Winter Soldier have one like till the end of the line, and it's like Iron Man protects Winter Soldier, like gets bonuses to block for him, and Winter Soldier gets like extra gunshots, and the art is like right? Just awesome. It's
yeah,
them
yeah,
like back to back fighting, and I'm like one tier for like such a good line, like to the end of the line, like some cool like they really nailed it with all that
awesome,
stuff. Like you get excited to see the card names and like the art that goes with it. But no, it's definitely if you play it competitively, it can be a chase game.
for
But
sure.
if you're just like, let's say you've got your son or daughter and they show interest in it, you can just buy like, hey, I want to play because there's no you don't need to build a team even. You can just play whoever. Like it
Right,
doesn't
right.
have to
It
be a team. You can just be like, I want these cool characters and you can play and then it's just kind of like
right.
whatever.
You can. It's very much you can go to stores and play in events, or like X-wing, you can buy whatever you want and then play it on your kitchen table. And who cares about
Yep,
the official rules or points changes or
exactly.
anything
Yep.
like that? So
And they don't even do like tournaments officially. They have hobby days. And so you go
okay,
in and everybody gets a card, like a cool alt card, and they have their kits even. They're like OP kits. Like you don't even have to be at the store to play them. Like they come in and say, all right, because of COVID and everything going on, uh, you did you play as an attacker this game? Yes. Okay. Did you play as a defender? Yes. How'd you guys do? Blah blah blah. Here's all three of your cards. Thanks. Like there's not
nice,
like a
nice.
it's refreshing because you and I have played X-Wing competitively. It was our lifestyle game for what, 2,
Mm,
3 years?
yeah, very much.
Like we
Like
traveled all over the place.
yeah, all over the
And so
place.
it was the chase for the swag, right? Like I wanted that special card. I wanted to get first to get the invite to Worlds, right? Like it's kind of nice to get into a game that just doesn't doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like they there is a competitive scene growing for it. And actually the TTS mod is spectacular. Like
nice. Okay,
awesome. Really great. Yeah, super on point. But their main thing is like, no, it's more of a casual miniature game. Like, yeah, there's stuff going on, but don't they like trying to lean away from it a little bit, but like a lot of the competitive players want it to be a thing.
they don't.
But
Yeah,
it was just
if you make it too sweaty, it pushes the kitchen table players away if they ever want to come
yeah,
to an event, right? So
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So it's right now it's in a really good. It's just like I don't know. I miss it because I used to play it like quite a bit when I started, and then I stopped. And then I've got my Groot painted, my Gamora, my Drax, all like painted. I got to finish a few of them, and Guardians just got a buff. They used to be the worst team in the game, like hands down, just the
that
worst.
sounds about right.
Uh,
The team you like to
yeah,
play is the worst. Sounds about Evan. Yeah,
dude, I just picked him because I'm like, oh, Guardians, yeah, okay,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool. But they changed some stuff, and now they're at least like they may not be the best, but they're at least like they can fight.
They're
Like you're not
playable.
bringing
Yeah,
them, yeah, you're not bringing them to the table and being like, well, like Guardian, like Groot and Rocket Raccoon have like a team up thing they could do, where it's like Groot is his bodyguard, so he can like defend him from getting hit. Like it's got a lot of cool stuff. It's worth at least checking out the TTS mod because that's free.
yeah.
Or if you want to get into the real thing, Going to try to get a demo in at your local store just to see. I think it's worth that.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. So that's it for the show today. As Evan mentioned earlier, we will be at PAX Unplugged this year. That is December 10th, 11th, 12th, unless I'm
Hmm.
mistaken.
Yep.
So we'll be there all 3 days. So if you see us, stop and say hi. And Evan, uh, they can catch you on streaming as well. So
Yep.
what are you streaming lately? I know you stream lots of different things. So I've seen you on
Yeah.
Halo.
Yeah, I've been playing Infinite's fun. Infinite's a lot of fun. I've been doing Forza Horizon 5 because that's fun. I've been actually learning guitar on stream. Uh, I decided that Rocksmith plug in my guitar and start playing. I finally have noticed improvement. Like
Nice,
from
nice.
plucking a string, I can actually do most of Blitzkrieg Bop, uh, the full song at like full like how it's actually played. I can't. I'm not quite there. Like I'm still missing note, but I can feel like my hands going the right spots. I just need to get better at like getting the strings right. But I can like keep up with the song now. So it's that's been fun. Halo's gonna be big, but dude, there's just so much stuff coming out. But yeah, I'm a variety
Yeah.
streamer. I've actually got an easel set up. I like to paint.
Oh,
I thought it'd
nice,
be cool to
nice.
paint and then listen to lo-fi on a like lo-fi music
Yeah, yeah.
a vinyl
Ah,
on a
nice.
vinyl player because I bought a vinyl. I got Amazon credit for free, so I got one for like free. And oh, is that actually okay? Let me before we go story.
All
So I went
right.
to Boston a couple weekends ago, and there was a ton of vinyl shops, like a lot of vinyl shops. And it's a college town. It's a young town. Not Boston's not a young town, but like a younger like the age demographic when I was there seemed to be 20 to 50
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
lot of the folks like on the street out doing stuff. And like a lot of shops would go had vinyl. And I'm like, I always kind of wanted vinyl, but like, I never really thought into it. And so I just happened to be on Amazon. They're like, hey, deal of the day, $50, early Black Friday deal, a coupon for $10 off this vinyl record player. And I had $44 in like Amazon credit. I'm like, okay. So I got it for free and I bought a Foo Fighters vinyl. And I'm like, well, that'd be
Nice.
fun to like paint stuff and listen to like lo-fi on vinyl.
Do
Just as
do
a
they
weird
have
like
lo-fi on vinyl?
yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Everything comes out in vinyl now. Actually, it's like a weird resurgence.
I
I don't.
think it's because it is becoming one of the most purchased physical forms of media now. Again, it's weird, right? Like no one wants
Yeah.
cassettes or
Oh, yeah.
CDs, but vinyl is like
I
trendy.
made that same comment. Like, no one's going like, "Oh, cassettes were great." No, they weren't. And no one's like, "CDs are fine." Like, no one cares. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
either straight digital streaming
yeah,
or vinyl. I just it's I got it
yeah.
and like I started looking at vinyl like the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. It's like a giant one of them. Number two is like this cool like psychedelic, and the other one, the first one's Star Lord's face with his mask.
Nice.
Like
Evan,
yeah, just
I'm too old school for vinyl. I actually only listen to music from live people singing it directly to me. So
yeah, live live
yeah,
Scandinavian throat singing.
yeah. Whenever I want to listen to Katy Perry, I have her show up at
I have
my
to call her. I
house.
have to call her.
Call up Kate, sing me a song.
Sing, sing me a song, Piano Man.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. Well, Evan, it's been fantastic. I will put the link to your Twitch down in the description as per the
Excellent.
usual. So if you like watching video games and want to learn or see Evan play the guitar and learn the guitar, go ahead and check him out. And do you subscribe on Twitch? I think so.
Yeah, you sub, you follow.
Perfect. Follow
Do
Evan
you,
on
do you,
Twitch.
do
There we go.
you subscribe on Twitch? Is that what the kids do?
I got a couple gray hairs poking through. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I won't. Trust me.
All right, everyone. It's been fantastic, and we will see you on the next episode, which will be covering, I believe, The Matrix, which comes out the week after Spider-Man. So it'll be
Yes, sir.
a fun December for moviegoers.
Excellent.
All right, goodbye, everyone. Bye, Evan.
Everyone, stay red.